Hello friends! Earlier this year I did a color mixing study in a playful way, and I wanted to share that with you because it was a lot of fun. I had these 4 canvases around actually for a couple of years, I'm kind of embarrassed to say, sitting in the studio waiting for paintings to happen on them, and I had put the backgrounds on them several years ago. And so they had these colors on them that were really quite bright. So I decided to do a little color mixing play by using the colors that were on the backgrounds and just those colors, and white and black. So the colors that I used were the quinacridone magenta, a Reeves turquoise, deep turquoise, a Reeves Naples yellow, and the Liquitex Basics light green, titanium white and golden, and then a Payne's gray that came from Dick Blick, I believe. And those were the only paint colors I used to mix up different variations that I would then use for a little intuitive play on these canvas boards. And this is honestly just a really fun way to give yourself like a quick art assignment where you're going to learn a ton about a set of colors that you've chosen with a limited palette. And you're going to get all kinds of colors that feel really harmonious together. And that is just super cool because you don't have to worry about them not working together. They already have a little bit of each other in them. And that is what makes it feel harmonious. And because you're using colors right out of the tube and then mixing them together, it's changing the quality of that color and the saturation levels of that color. And it's going to give your paintings immediately this feeling of contrast that is happening almost without trying. And again, that harmony, which is a lot of fun. No matter what you put on the page, really. And then you get to play with different proportions and tints and shades and things like that. And I just started to have a lot of fun kind of playing with these shapes and making these little, like, I don't know, they're like snippets of little dreamscapes or something. I'm not really sure how I describe them, but they're abstracted sort of playful things using, again, just those 4 colors right out of the tube and then white, and I use Payne's gray in place of black. And of course, as you can see, I'm moving from one board to another. Once I mixed up a color on my palette, I would just kind of use it up, put a little bit on each of the boards that I felt called to do that with, and then mix up another color and go from there. And so that also made them really feel like a body of work, like a little series of studies once I was all finished with them. So that's another tip too. Work on more than one, particularly when you're doing things like working with a new palette or something like that and seeing what it is that you can create with those colors and how they might work with different proportions of each of the colors or different variations or combinations and that sort of thing. Doing this little exercise reminded me for some reason of this like ancient computer game that we had when I was a kid. I'm not even sure if it was a game actually. It was a really like old school computer, massive machine. And there was this little program on it where you would press a key and that key was correlated with a certain color and tone that was correlated then with a certain musical note sound that would come out of the speaker. And so you could actually play like sorts of musical lines and things, and it would create this like colorful shift and change on the screen in front of you. And I was just fascinated by that. And it just kind of makes me think of that use of the notion of harmony and how that's a wonderful connection and metaphor to the use of harmony in music. Harmony just gives us the feeling that these things belong together, that they're related, that somehow there's a connection between them that ties them together well. It gives us a sense of unity almost, right? So there's times to use harmonious elements in making our art, and times when we might intentionally choose not to as a form of contrast or something. I have a lot of this on my mind right now too, because behind the scenes, I have been creating a new course with these short lessons in it called Art Elements for Intuitive Creative specifically. And we're currently in the midst of exploring all kinds of different wonderful things about colors and art elements, art principles, and I'm sharing it with my Creative Practice Keepers community first, and it is going to be a standalone course as well. And so all of that's fresh on my mind. We're skipping the hours of like brain-numbing theory and excruciating, exercises, and just getting right to the heart of these little reference samples we're making and how we can apply it to creating intuitively. So here's a quick little peek of these paintings, how they came out. And I was really quite pleased with them as a little series. It was a lot of fun to do, really fun to play with that very simple mixing exercise, and I totally encourage you to give it a try if you're looking for something fun to do in your creative practice.